sweethearts! Thank you for joining me again on another episode of The Sweet Show. Did you guys know that February 20th is National Cherry Pie Day? How lucky am I to be able to show you guys how to make a classic cherry pie. I'm so excited. Let's begin. The ingredients that we're going to need for our pie crust are 2 cups of all-purpose flour, plus a little extra for dusting your workstation. You're going to need a teaspoon of salt, 3/4 of a cup of frozen shortening that you're going to cut up into little tiny pieces, and a 1/4 cup of ice cold water. Let's get started by mixing our pie dough for the crust. Get a large bowl and put your 2 cups of flour and salt together, and get your hand mixer and mix it on low for 30 seconds. Now that that's combined, let's go ahead and add your shortening, and we're going to mix it on medium just until they appear crumbly. This will probably take about a minute or 2. Now let's sprinkle in the cold water, and we're going to mix it on medium just until it starts to come together. Test it by grabbing a handful of dough, and if you can shape it with your hands, then your dough is good to go. Now we're going to lay out 2 large pieces of plastic wrap on our counter. We're going to place 1/2 of the dough on each. Make sure that one of the halves is slightly bigger than the other, round them up nicely, and wrap them in plastic. For our delicious cherry filling, we are going to need 1/3 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 2 15-ounce cans of pitted cherries and water, and you're also going to reserve 1 cup of that cherry liquid. 1 tablespoon of butter that you're also going to cut up into tiny pieces, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, and 2 teaspoons of almond extract. To make our cherry filling, we're first going to take our saucepan, and we're going to just put together our sugar, brown sugar, cornstarch, cinnamon, and our 1 cup of cherry liquid. We're going to let this boil over low heat until it gets thick, and then just let it boil for 1 more minute. Our juice has thickened, so I took it out of the heat. Now it's time to whisk in our butter, almond, and vanilla extract. Once the butter melts and everything is nice and combined, we're going to fold in our cherries and coat them evenly in the mixture. Once it all looks evenly mixed, just set it aside. Now let's take our rounds of pie dough from the fridge, and we're ready to assemble our crust. The first step in assembling our pie is getting our crust in place. First things first, dust your workstation with flour so our dough doesn't stick to the surface. It's also a good idea to dust your rolling pin. Next, unwrap your larger dough, and we're going to roll it out to about 1/8 of an inch thick and as round as possible. Keep dusting your dough with flour in between rolls to avoid them from sticking. Now that your dough is rolled out nicely, get your pie plate ready. Wrap your dough around your rolling pin, lift it up, and gently rest it onto your pie plate. Now that you've transferred your dough, press on it gently so it rests evenly and securely on the surface and the edges of the plate. Trim off the excess dough around the edges of the plate using a pair of scissors. Now we're just going to let this sit in the fridge while we work on the other half of our dough, and now is also a good time to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Once again, dust your workstation with flour and roll out your dough to 1/8 of an inch thick. This time it doesn't have to be round. Once that's rolled out, just take your hard cookie cutters and cut out different sizes of heart shapes, just as much as you can get out of the dough, and just place them on your cookie sheet with parchment paper. Now that you're all done with your hearts, go ahead and set it aside. Take your crust out of the fridge and go ahead and fill it with your cherry filling. After that, smooth out the top with a metal spatula. The filling smells amazing. Now we're going to take our pie dough hearts, and we're going to place them all over the top of the pie. Now we need steam to escape the pie, so make sure to not get the entire surface covered and leave some open pockets. This is already looking pretty, but to make our pie come out extra pretty, we're going to take our egg and our cream, whisk them together in a bowl, and we're going to brush the mixture onto the pie, just coating all the dough parts. And finally, we're going to sprinkle it with some raw sugar. Our pie is ready for the oven, sweethearts. Place your plate on your cookie tray and bake it for 25 minutes or until your pie is nice and golden brown. Our pie is finally out of the oven. It looks so amazing and it smells even more amazing. You can serve it warm or cold and with some whipped cream if you so desire. Thank you guys for joining me again today on another episode of The Sweet Show. I had so much fun making this pie and I can't wait to eat it. I would love for you guys to give me any suggestions or just say hello down on the comments section. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes every Monday. Bye guys!